This story about this California mom who went missing in Zion National Park and was found 2 weeks later, this story is making me nuts.
Okay.
There's so many little aspects to this story that I just like I'm like flustered when I think about it. Okay, first of all, she survived 2 weeks with no food and only a little bit of water. 2 weeks, no food? She went 2 weeks without eating?
You can
I
go
can't go
2
2
hours.
Yes.
Yeah, you would just give up. I mean, if you had to go that long without food, it's over, Johnny. I'm done.
I don't know how she made it 2 weeks without food. And when they found her, her friends and family were like, wow, she was really, really skinny. It's like, you think? She went 2 weeks without eating, which, FYI, I'm like, that's a good way to lose weight. But how does, I don't get it. I don't know how she survived. I think it's amazing that she survived 2 weeks with no food.
Okay, I know nothing about this story, so tell me about this story.
Okay, so this is the other part of the story that's driving me crazy. So here's what happened. So there's this woman in California. She's a nanny. She loses her job, and she says to her family, you know what? I haven't had any time off in a really long time. I'm always working for other people. I'm going to take some time off, and I'm just going to go to different national parks around the country and just see some national parks. It's COVID. I'm not going to work again anytime soon. Let me just enjoy my time.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been basically hopping from park to park, and she's gone by herself, which in and of itself right there, like, you're traveling by yourself? Like, what? I go nowhere alone. Like, if I have to go somewhere alone, I'm like, I can't do this. I need like a cab driver or somebody with me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. So the fact that she went traveling by herself is amazing. So she takes a van to Zion National Park. She gets out of this van, and there's all these different trails you can take. And instead of following everybody else and going with them, she was like, I'm going to go ahead and go on this trail by myself. And she's not a hiker. You know, she didn't have like any kind of navigation system with her. She didn't bring extra food with her. Mm-hmm. She just started hiking. And next thing she knew, she was completely lost. And she was lost for 2 weeks. And during that time, after about a week, they went and got a bunch of cadaver dogs and started looking in those areas with cadaver dogs. Her family was like, oh my God, they're looking for a body. Like, this is too much to take. My God, like, they couldn't get their mind around the fact that she could be dead. And they're like, is it a serial killer? Is she gone? Is she just dead from exposure? You know, I mean, thank God it was the summer. If it was the winter, forget it. She would have been gone in like 3 days. Cadaver dogs find nothing. And the family's like, okay, this is not good. About 2 weeks later, I guess it makes national news or whatever. Some visitors to the park hear the story. They're like, oh, we saw her. It's like, you saw her. Why didn't you go help her? Like, what? You see a woman stranded,
right.
And instead of being like, oh, look, there's a stranded woman, we better hightail it out of here.
Right.
They looks crazy. She looks really skinny and crazy.
Right. So they leave, and then when they realize it's her, then they tell the authorities, hang on a minute, we saw this lady.
Mm-hmm.
So the authorities go to where these people said they saw her, and of course, there she is, and they find her. And, you know, she's been hospitalized, but she's fine. Like, she's got a couple of bruises on her, but other than that, she just needs some food and some water, and she's survived. And her family's like, we didn't think we'd ever see her again.
So she wasn't stuck in a car. She wasn't stuck in anything. She wasn't stuck in an avalanche. She's just walking around the forest.
Yes, walking around the forest.
She could have ate berries and stuff. What's wrong with her? You can eat bark. Why can't you eat bark? Eat a rabbit. Do something. Why can't you for 2 weeks? I've seen these shows alone.
How's she going to eat a rabbit? What's she going to kill the rabbit with her bare hands? She's going to run after a rabbit and kill it with her bare hands?
If you're in the forest for 2 weeks, you're going to kill something and eat something.
But she didn't.
See, I don't understand that. She didn't eat berries. She didn't eat deer poo. She didn't eat anything. Why?
The only thing she had with her was water. See, this is the thing. She only had water with her, and she like rationed it over the course of the time, I guess, because they said she had a little bit of water and like kept sipping it, whatever. I mean, at night, like at night, aren't you scared? I mean, isn't some animal going to come by and eat you? Like, it's just the whole story is like, it freaks me out on so many levels.
Yeah, I
It's
don't-
like, why are you alone? Why do you have no food? Why do you have no hiking equipment? Like, what happened here?
God
know?
put water all over the place. You can get water from somewhere. It's a forest. There's water.
Right. Go find a stream. Listen for a stream and go follow. Keep the river on your right. It was the name of that movie, right? Just go find water and just follow. The whole story is just so upsetting to me on so many levels. What did she do at night? How did she avoid animals? Why didn't she eat animals that she found?
Right.
Why didn't she have food with her? Why was she alone? Why did the people who saw her just go, "Hey, lady," and like keep walking? There's so many aspects to this story that
It's
are
the
so
Blair
upsetting to
Witch.
me.
I see it. It's the Blair Witch. Run.
Right.
So she
Oh
didn't
my
say,
God.
"Help me! I've been lost for a week and a half."
No, I guess not. That's the thing. So the visitors saw her, but she didn't see them. And if visitors saw her, then she was obviously in an area that you can access. So the whole story is a big mystery to me. I don't understand any of it. It just freaks me out.
Okay, I'll tell you how this is going to end. You ready? She
Okay.
wasn't lost for 2 weeks. She was hooking up with some guy that broke up with her, and she just didn't want to tell her husband that she was hooking up, and she was camping with this guy for 2 weeks. Honey, I was in the forest. For 2 weeks, I walked around. I was looking everywhere for you. I thought it was all over. Water? I had water. Yeah. I couldn't find any. 2 weeks, I couldn't find one berry. I couldn't find a berry in 2 weeks. But I was screaming your name the whole time. I was walking around going, Beth. And I couldn't find
Where's
you.
her cell phone? Like the very first day that you realize you're lost, you don't call anybody? You don't call 911?
You don't know how to build a fire. You can't figure it out in 2 weeks. You can't burn. I mean, it's California. It's burning.
Just follow the smoke.
It's not that hard to start a fire right now. It really
Right.
isn't. You can rub two stones together and get a fire. So I don't like this at all. I think she was hooking up with some guy that lived in the woods, and her
There's
husband's
something
gonna
else
find
to
out.
this story. This is the whole story sounds really peculiar to me, and it's very disturbing because there's so many aspects. It's like when you watch these movies that don't make any sense. You know, it's like, oh, I think there's a murder in the house. I better go in the house. What? Why would you go in the house?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where it's like, why are you by yourself? Why isn't there any food? How did you get lost so quickly? I don't understand any of this. If visitors can see you, how could you not see them? What?
Yeah, it's the same excuse your boyfriend has when he doesn't come home for a couple of days. He's like, I was on 26th Street. I was lost. I kept walking around. I kept calling your name, and I had no water or berries.
Yeah,
And you say, okay, he was just lost.
same story.